Must be awkward for Mario to take mushrooms but be friends with Toad. Oh, hey, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of my show. And what I like to do here, my name is Kurosh. I like to talk about video games, review them, talk about them, have a conversation about them. I usually like to enjoy putting a focus or an emphasis on indie developers and indie games. But today I'd like to talk about a specific game that isn't as, I would say, indie as one would imagine. And that game is Super Mario Wonder. This is a Nintendo game made by Nintendo proper, the Nintendo company. And there was just something about this game I felt the need to want to talk about it, review it, and give a conversation out. And so that's why we're here. Super Mario Wonder is a 2023 game that came out on the Nintendo Switch, following the titular character Mario and his friends. And you go through a new kingdom, which they have these wonder seeds. And it's a 2D style Mario game because they typically vary in the 2D or the 3D space. And you and your friends and either friends or frenemies or enemies or whoever, because you can play this game co-op, go through and try a variety of different kind of levels, the typical structure of a Mario 2D game. You go to World 1-1, World 1-2, and then you go to the next region. But the spin on this one that makes it so wonderful, the wonder, the things that this kingdom has are these wonder seeds, and every level has a wonder seed that are wonder flower that you can find hidden in the level. And whenever you find one of these flowers, it takes the level and turns it into an acid trip of sorts. Some new mechanic, whether it be like you're on a level and there's a bunch of rhinos, next thing you know, you find the wonder flower and you've activated it, and the rhinos are flying through the sky and you're riding on their back in a stampede and craziness is happening. Another level, you're fighting against a bunch of goopy globs, and when you find the wonder flower, you turn into a gloopy glob and you go around and you're glooping and globbing. It cranked up the imagination and the creativity of what Mario offers, which is already crazy. It goes from everything from your boo ghosts to your mushrooms to your Shy Guys to your Koopas to your Goombas to Bowsers and everything in between. And I think it just like amplified that to 20. And so let's go into the experience a bit. I went into this having demoed it at PAX West last year and was enamored by like all of the details and colors that I was seeing on screen popping around, flashing before my eyes. Honestly, it's funny because even though he takes mushrooms in the game to enlarge, I feel like I as the player was taking mushrooms as I was playing this experience, because it was just so vibrant, so full of all kinds of wacky, crazy stuff, but in a fun and enjoyable way. Like it was no one idea fully done. It was just a lot of splattering of ideas over the course of the game. I think the game is pretty quick to get through. You can get through in like 10 to 20 hours maybe, and you can spend even more time if you're going through and trying to get all the things in each level and all the coins and all the collectibles and all that jazz. But I just kind of went through all the levels and courses and went to the final boss and called it a day there for now, at least, until I go back and maybe try with friends, because it does offer the ability to play through these levels online and locally with multiplayer. And you're racing through the courses and you're all trying to do abilities. Speaking of abilities, one of the things I want to talk about is not just that the levels are interesting and creative, but there's a slew of new abilities and powers. There's a elephant mushroom apple thing that turns you into a giant elephant character. You can use your trunk to swat off enemies, or you can fill it with water. There's a drill power that lets you drill into the walls above you or beneath you and kind of like glide through the ground and pop out, or slam through surfaces that you wouldn't normally be able to. There's a bubble flower, which is similar to the fire flower, but this time you're spewing out little bubbles that catch enemies within them. So I love just that it had so many new things. Like I don't think from the regular roster of characters like the Shy Guys and Boos and such, I rarely saw them, honestly, because of how many other different things that were new that I'd never seen before were present in the levels available to me and everything. So I really enjoyed that. I found that a fun time and just kind of refreshing in the Mario space of like, I've done this and I enjoy it. Like I went in thinking I was just getting more of the same, and I always love more of what Mario has to offer personally. But it was so many new things that I was like, what is this? What is that? And I think because they were doing so many new ideas, they didn't draw them out. So the levels can vary from a standard level length of like 1 or 2 minutes to 30 seconds, 40 to less than a minute on some of them. Just to like, here's an idea. It's just, like I said, a splattering of ideas in every direction. And for me, that was enjoyable. I think for those playing in group settings, that can be funny and in like all the chaos that ensues, not just in the way the levels are made and what's available, but also the way the 2D Mario plays in multiplayer. There's always one person trying to like take their time, whereas everyone's speeding through it. It puts some tension there, and it makes for some fun, chaotic moments. I did not try the online components, so I can't speak to that in any regard, but I do know that it is something that they offered. You can search for groups and join up on someone playing through a level. I think if there's any areas that I would like to improve upon, it would, what would it be? I think it would largely be sometimes it does a good job of conveying everything. The level difficulties are shown, the level, like the regions are all fun and stuff, but some of I think there's badges, which is another new mechanic, which you can attribute as you play through. So if you wear a certain type of badge, you have an extra jump, or it gives you an ability in water or something that perpetuates no matter what level you're on and what character you're playing with. So all of these ideas were great. I just wish some of them were a little, like the levels were a little longer. I like more like a typical Mario 2D level. I think some of them were so short and such a small sampling that I was like, oh, I wanted more of that. I wish they like tried more of this. But I think it's like a give and take there, where it's like they tried so much and they did in a lot of different directions. They're going to lean more into some than they are others. So I understand, but if they were to build more out on this, I would love to see more of that. But I think that's about it. I didn't have many other gripes. I think it's fairly clear what you can expect from it, in the sense that it's 2D Mario and just amplified in the wackiness and the wonder, quote unquote, no pun intended, of what they offer with the variety of different abilities. I think I would give this a solid A-. It's very good, very much fun. If you're a Mario fan, if you enjoy this type of game, it's going to give you a lot of it in ways that you didn't think you'd wanted. I would say for someone that isn't intrigued by Mario, the only reason I would say you might be is because it's a little different from what you typically see, in some new directions that may entice you. But other than that, I don't think it's going to get someone that, like, if they saw this, they would be like, oh, I'll try this one over other ones. I may be wrong. You can tell me. Let me know. But I think overall it was a good time. I typically go into Mario games knowing I'm getting some level of really interesting creative ideas, and they always tend to bring their A game. And they did it here. They brought it here, and I gave them an A back. So anyway, let me know if you've tried the game, if you've been interested in trying the game, what you think of it, what you want to do with it, what ideas you have, if you disagree with anything I said, why. I'd love to hear your thoughts. This is a safe space for that, so let me know. I just want to also just encourage more creativity. I think even though it's a well-known franchise and IP, they could play it safe. I think oftentimes you see that with a game like Pokemon. There's a criticism they face is that they make so much, they're so successful, but they make such small iterative changes. It's nice sometimes to see a wild swing in a direction with a bunch of different ideas when they have that, because they could always just go back if it fails. I think that was nice to see here. I'd love to see more of it from studios like that, from teams like this, where they just have such all over the place ideas. So thank you again for joining me and for joining me on this review of Super Mario Wonder. I'll be back with more conversations and reviews later, and I hope to hear from you guys later. Have a good one. Thanks.